Hi class. So for this lesson we're going to be doing some more picture frames. In the last one we were using the select tool to cut out parts of our picture frames and cut out parts of our pictures to fit inside of those frames. And that's all well and good, but it's what's considered a destructive method. In other words, if you were to finish up your picture frames, you had already cut out everything from the images, cut out everything from the picture frames, saved it, come back to it a few hours or a few days later, and realized that the picture wasn't placed the way you were hoping for it to be, you would have to start all over on that one because there's nothing left of the rest of the picture. So to fix that, in this lesson I'm going to be teaching you about what's called a layer mask. So to begin, in Canvas you're going to select the maskedframes.psd file and just click it, download it, and then get that opened up in Photoshop. It should look like this, just 3 frames and a white background. And then we're also going to need a few of our images. The first one we're going to be working with is this wooden frame. It's layer 3, so I'm actually going to turn off layers 2 and 1. That way we don't get confused about which layer is which. And we'll rename that one to frame 1. And then select one of your pictures and click and drag that over to your masked frames tab and let go of it on top of your image. Now we can adjust it here if we want to, just so that it fits into the frame the way we're wanting it to a little bit better. We can make more adjustments on that later because that's the whole point of this lesson. Let's go ahead and click our checkbox so that we can continue working on it. We're going to rename this to Picture 1. There we go. Alright, now that we got that selected, we're going to go ahead and add our layer mask to it. So make sure you've got Picture 1 layer selected, and then down here below it you're going to see a rectangle that has kind of a circle cut out of it. If we click that, it'll add this little white box to the side with this, what looks like chain links in between it. And that's our layer mask. So it's just a white background right now, and you'll notice over to the side our two boxes here, our foreground color and our background color, are now in shades of gray. So if I were to try to change it to a shade of red or something, it actually just gives you the equivalent shade of gray. I generally like to work with just white and black with this and then mess with the opacity layers later if I want something more simple. So if we click this little icon right here, it's the little white and black, it switches our foreground to white, our background to black, and we can actually hit this double arrow to switch black into our foreground. Now if we wanted to, we could come up here and just grab our paintbrush and come over here to our picture, and everywhere that we paint black disappears off of the image. And if you look here, you can see in our actual layer mask that the black shows up there, and you can see that the entire image is still there. It's just marked out because of our mask. Now I'm not actually wanting to do that because we're wanting to get a little bit more exact on how it fits the frame, so I'm going to Control Z that. And I'm actually going to turn the eyeball off on our picture for a moment and go back down to the picture frame, and we're going to get the inside of our picture frame by using our magic wand tool. And using it with the frame layer selected, you can just click anywhere in this white area and it's going to select everything inside of our frame. Okay. Now we can click back, or turn our picture layer back on and click back on our picture layer. Now right now it has everything inside of it selected, and just like last time we want to go ahead and inverse that so it selects everything outside of it. And all we have to do to get rid of it is make it into black on the outside so that it stays white on the inside. So using our paint bucket tool, you may have gradients by default here, but just long click it and go to the second one, which is the paint bucket tool. Make sure you have black as your foreground color, and then you can click anywhere in this area that's not inside of our picture frame and just click. Oops, that's actually kind of an important thing to note. I had the picture layer selected, so I'm going to Control Z that. What we need to make sure is that the layer mask is the part that's selected. So now if we click over here, you can see the layer mask went black, leaving this shade white, and we still have our entire image there in the center, which basically means, let's go ahead and deselect. If we need to, we can move our picture around without losing our layer mask. Now there's a couple things to note. If I move it currently, it moves both the image and the layer mask. So you can see up there that we're still not getting the parts that we want into the frame. I'm going to Control Z that. Now that little chain link in between the layer mask and the image, if we click that, now these two are no longer linked together, and we can freely move the layer mask around if we want to, or make sure the image is selected, and now we can move the picture around instead. I like it in that spot, but I'm going to make it a little bigger so that it actually fits the frame. And then make sure to hit the check mark, otherwise it won't let you keep going. Alright, and that's actually all there is to it. I mean, the black area in the layer mask is what you can't see. The white area is what you can see. And then remember, once you get it moved to the position you want, you're going to want to re-click the link in between the two so that they're re-linked together. And that's our first picture frame done. So let's go ahead and hold down Control and click both of the layers. We're going to right-click it. We're going to link the layers together. So that way if we try to move it, the whole thing moves. So we're going to right-click again, go to Group from Layers. We're going to name this one Canvas 1. You can also name it Frame 1 or Picture 1, whatever you like, as long as you know that that's the first image that you put together. And it collapsed it down into the folder. And we're going to go ahead and drag that down to the bottom so we don't end up messing with it again. And we'll turn the eyeball off, and we'll actually go so far as to lock that layer so we don't actually accidentally mess with it. So make sure the eyeball's on, lock it, and then we can turn the eyeball off again. Hey class, I'm going to cut in here real quick with an edit. While I was rewatching it, I did notice whenever I dragged this one down, we had this area up here that was still showing. So let's go ahead and open up the folder again. And you see the area on the mask that's still white. We're going to go ahead and use the paint bucket. Click on the mask. We're going to click in the white area, and now that's shaded out. Then we can go back to this, move it back to where we want it. That got rid of the excess area that was not properly showing. That's all. Okay, back to your regularly scheduled lesson. Alright, so next we are going to mess with the circle frame. So we're going to grab another picture using the Move tool. Got to unlock that layer. Just click the lock on it. Click and drag it up to our masked frames, and again just drop it on there. Get it pseudo resized to about where we want it. Now you'll notice it's keeping, for the most part, it's keeping its proportions. Oh, actually, that was odd. So I accidentally hit Control and it skewed it instead. So if you hold down the Alt key, whenever you drag it, it will actually keep its proportions. I'll get that over here. I'm actually going to move it above that layer so I can kind of see it a bit better. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect because we're about to be able to adjust it again. So I'm just going to have it like that for now. And again, we just need to hit the check mark and then turn on our layer mask. There we go. Turn the eyeball off. Select our canvas. And let's actually go ahead and rename them. So this one's going to be frame 2. And this one's going to be picture 2. There we go. And select the frame layer. Again, we're going to select the magic wand. Now you could use the ellipse marquee tool or one of your other selections, but this one's just easiest. Click in the middle there, and you got that circle perfectly filled in. We'll go ahead and inverse it. Turn our picture back on, go up here, and make sure that that layer mask is what's selected, not your image. Paint bucket, click, and there we go. Now again, if we unlink the two, use our move tool and deselect our selection. Move it however we need. Oop. Again, make sure you have the right part of the layer selected. We need the image part selected. Just move it around a little bit until you got everything exactly where you want it. Click the check mark, relink the two together, and that's our second frame already done. Alright, so let's go ahead and control, click both of the two layers, right click, link the layers, right click, group from layers, and this one we'll name canvas 2. We're going to lock it. Well, let's move it down. And then we'll lock it. Turn off the eyeball. That one's done. Turn the last one on. And same thing once more. So grab your image. You may have to unlock it, remember. Use the move tool. Click and drag. Put it on there. Get it roughly resized to how you want it. Move it above. And that's a thing to note. The layer mask blocks it out from everything below it, so it has to be above the layer that you want to see it on. Alright, so let's add the layer mask. Go ahead and rename them. So we've got frame 3, picture 3. Okay, turn that off, select our picture frame. Once again, use the magic wand for simplicity. And inverse it. Turn the picture back on, select the picture layer, select the mask layer. And go over here, get our paint bucket, and click. And deselect. Alrighty. And unlink it again. Use the move tool to get it into whatever position you're needing. Oh, once again, select the picture layer. I'll get that right one of these times. Go. And there we go. Alright. Check mark once you got it into whatever position you're wanting. Relink the two together. And that's it. Easy as pie. We got our last picture frame done. So we're going to link the two together again. Link layers. Group from layers. Canvas 3. And we're going to lock that one. Turn off that eyeball. And that's it for those 3. So now for you guys, just go back into Google, grab 3 more frames, just like you did in our first assignment, or our first picture frame assignment, and use 3 more of your images that you've taken recently. Just get them put in. So once you're done, you're going to have these 3, and then one here, and one over here. So bottom left, bottom right, and top middle. And you'll have 6 in total, and whenever you turn that in, make sure to turn it in the Photoshop file format. That's .psd. That way I can actually see your layers and see how you did it. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to email me on Canvas and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. Thank you guys so much and have a good rest of your assignment.